Following program is produced at and funded by Lyndon State College, the College of the Northeast Kingdom.
Coming up tonight on News 7.
A prominent business in Concord goes up in flames. We will have a report from the scene.
How safe is your child's school? A look into how local schools are taking steps to prevent mass violence.
One of those convicted in the murder of Melissa Jenkins has filed an appeal. News 7 starts right now.
Live from the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, this is News 7 at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Michael Raimondi alongside Alex Paddock. Route 2 in Concord is now open after a massive fire tore through the P&S furniture store.
Flames were reported around 10:30 this morning, and fire crews from several towns were called out to battle the blaze. And now the work begins just to figure out what happened.
News 7's Alexa Richard was on scene minutes after the fire broke out and joins us live from Concord with the latest. Alexa?
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Alex. Yes, I'm here on scene in Concord, and as you can see right here behind me, the building has been a complete loss. When I arrived here at about 11 o'clock this morning, I saw how intense that the flames got and how dense that the cloud was of smoke. And there were no injuries that were reported, but the road was closed, then moved to about one lane after about an hour, and now Route 2 has been opened. When I arrived here at about 5 p.m. today, Concord Fire Department was finishing up cleaning up the debris, and now they are gone. But earlier today, I spoke with some of the witnesses of the fire.
By the time we got here, fire had already gone out the back side of the building. And it wasn't safe to put anybody in. It's a matter of just surround, keep it from spreading up to the house. Some trucks and stuff are up on the backside.
Incredible pictures show the magnitude of the fire that broke out late this morning at P&S Furniture on Route 2 in Concord. Flames could be seen from miles away, and residents watched as their neighbor's business went up into flames.
It's a shame. I mean, I don't know. It's a big fire. I didn't know if it's going to get away, but I think the wind is killing them.
Route 2 was closed for over an hour as multiple fire departments tried battling the blaze.
So we got here, had to set up dump tanks, portable ponds, and then we've got tankers from 8 different departments here to get enough water. We're hauling water from 2 places. That was the biggest issue.
Concord Fire Department is appreciative for all of the assistance they received.
Yeah, it just shows how good mutual aid works. We couldn't do it, especially during the daytime, short of help. When we got here, there was only 3 of us here from our department. So, the mutual aid is what saves us things like this with all the area towns.
The fire is still under investigation, but we will bring you more information as we receive it. Reporting live in Concord, I'm Alexa Richard. Back to you guys in the studio.
Vermont State Police have identified one of 2 victims that were killed in a fire that occurred back on February 26th. 58-year-old Jeffrey Dobus's body was identified yesterday in the fire that destroyed a small home near Seymour Lake. Meanwhile, the second victim in this case has not been identified. The Charleston Fire Chief said that this accident is one of the worst the department has seen. Alan Prue, who is serving a life sentence for his part in the kidnapping and murder of St. Johnsbury Academy teacher Melissa Jenkins, has an appeal case with the Vermont Supreme Court. Defense attorney Allison Fulcher, who specializes in appeals with the Vermont Public Defender's Office, filed an appeal back in January. Fulcher says Prue's below-average IQ, his limited 9th grade education, and his lack of involvement with the police are some of the reasons for a retrial. Caledonia County State Attorney Lisa Warren has until April 4th to prepare a counterargument for the Supreme Court. Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook. Parents and students now face the reality that gun violence can happen in a place one considered a safe haven. Here in Vermont, the response to school shootings has been a balance between protecting students and protecting the Second Amendment. News 7's Tyler Catterett reports.
Life in Vermont has always involved residents owning guns for sport and recreation. Eddie Garcia is trying to keep it that way.
Self-defense is a human right. From that proceeds the political right to keep and bear arms. I, for one, will brook no insult to it.
But recent acts of mass violence have people talking about gun restrictions and extra precautions in the school setting.
There's an acknowledgement of this stuff can happen and will happen. It can happen anywhere. And so there's a lot more training being done for these circumstances.
Our goal is to really, obviously to look out for student safety is #1 priority. And then on us, in addition to that, is to kind of correlate with local law enforcement and local emergency services.
Officials say Vermont's firearm-friendly attitude does not have an impact on the likelihood of a school shooting.
I don't think it changes the risk. The culture of Vermont being a pro-gun state, I don't think it really changes things as far as the school culture goes, or the safety risk anyways.
It's not the gun order, the sportsmen's, the people that like to go to the range and shoot their assault rifles, as people call them. Those aren't the ones that we're concerned about.
There's no problem here to fix. That's why we resist these attacks on our rights. It seems to be the trendy thing to do.
Some members of law enforcement also worry about an overreaction in the wake of well-publicized violent events.
The problem that I think we're heading in is that there are people that want to remove guns from the world, no matter who you are, and we're allowing a couple of, not a couple, but some bad people who take guns and commit violence to take away the freedoms of those folks that are, it's tradition, it's family tradition, and owning guns is not a bad thing for them.
While that may be the case, America's classrooms have seen firsthand what happens when guns fall into the wrong hands. For those tasked with keeping students safe, every precaution is justified.
We go above and beyond what's required of us by the state to try to make sure that we've opened those lines of communications and that we're doing the best that we can in case anything ever happens. We always hope that it's never going to, and then plan for the worst so that we're prepared.
And so far, the worst has not happened here. Reporting for the Vermont Center for Community Journalism, I'm Tyler Catterett in the Northeast Kingdom.
Vermont's last mass shooting was back in August when a woman involved in a child custody battle killed 4 people, including a social worker at a state office building in Barrie. The state Senate is currently considering a bill calling for the stricter penalties in cases of similar violent crimes and criminal threatening. Local officials say they have specific plans in place to address mass violence, but are keeping those under wraps.
This year's town meeting day, several school mergers were put on trial in a number of communities where voters sided with Act 46. Governor Shumlin praised the communities who are working hard on school consolidation plans. Under this act, 40 school districts have been streamlined into 9 across the state. Overall, lawmakers hope to save money and create more opportunities for students. One of the top items of interest in Sheffield this week has been the education budget. The new budget, approved on town meeting day, plans to spend a little over 1% more on each pupil. This will cause slightly higher taxes for the residents, and some are worried taxpayers will not be able to keep up.
It comes down to having to pay the educational tax, and there are quite a number of people in town that actually have real difficulty coming up with the amount of money that is called for by the rate that the state sets.
St. Peter also says that the education budget has been a matter of importance in the past as well.
It's no secret that kids learn by example. Recent studies show that the Republican presidential campaign is affecting students, and not in a positive way. Donald Trump has called Ted Cruz a loser and a liar, while Marco Rubio says that Trump has the worst spray tan in America. These Twitter postings and sound bites have worked their way into student government, going against common anti-bullying laws. Teachers are trying to implement new ways to regulate student elections, such as having each candidate say something nice about the other. The GOP is in a battle to stop what was once unthinkable, a Donald Trump general election ticket. Panic within the party has brought out high-profile Republicans from the past and present, including the most recent Republican presidential nominee. Reed Binion reports.
I think he could do great damage to the party. He already has.
Former Republican House Majority Leader Tom DeLay weighing in on the crisis mode efforts of the GOP to stop the ascendance of Donald Trump after his strong gains on Super Tuesday.
And it's only too bad that Winner didn't take all. Because if Winner took all, this thing is over. We're just having a celebration.
2012 GOP nominee Mitt Romney joined that fight recently, hitting Trump on taxes in an interview with Fox News.
Frankly, I think we have good reason to believe that there's a bombshell in Donald Trump's taxes.
That war of words is set to escalate Thursday, with Romney expected to slam Trump in a high-profile speech just hours before the frontrunner faces his rivals on the debate stage. Trump responded to Romney's planned speech in typical Donald fashion on Twitter, writing, "Failed presidential candidate Mitt Romney is having a news conference tomorrow to criticize me. Just another desperate move by the man who should have easily beaten Barack Obama." Meanwhile, Ben Carson has pulled out of Thursday's debate altogether, also saying in a press release that he, quote, saw no path forward. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Democratic Senator John Rogers is considering running for lieutenant governor. According to the Vermont Press Bureau, the 50-year-old Glover resident who represents the Essex and Orleans Senate District plans to make his decision near the end of the legislative session. Rogers told the Bureau he is still considering and is on the fence for several reasons. And now Felicia Woody joins us with a look at our first forecast. Felicia, meteorological winter ended on March 1st, just a couple days ago. We're going to see some warmer weather to go along with that?
Well, Alex, we did have a cold day today, so it still felt like winter rather than spring, but we are going to be seeing an increase of warm temperatures as we go throughout the next week. But high temperatures today, it was cold. We only topped out at 16 degrees here in St. Johnsbury, 18 in Burlington. Friends up in Canada didn't even reach the double digits. So overall, it was a pretty cold day all across New England, especially in northern New England. Current temperatures all across the area are still in the mid-teens, on the decrease as the night falls, but clear skies are going to be happening for tonight. And if you're heading out tonight, temperatures will be dropping down to about the single digits, and clear skies will remain. And coming up in my full forecast, I'll talk about how long this beautiful weather will stick around. Back to you.
Thank you, Felicia. Coming up, the state is threatening to shut down work camps, which could affect a local business.
And a facelift is coming to a local attraction. We'll tell you where you can see those changes after the break.